Hey everybody. Earlier this year I put in this water feature. I had intended on doing a kind of a how-to video and document all the steps I took and some of the work I was doing. I didn't do a particularly good job on that. I got some video, but left a lot of stuff kind of incomplete. So I want to come back now. It's the end of the year. Had a whole season to see the birds and stuff. It's been a real success, but I wanted to fill in some of the blank spaces that I kind of left in my other videos. First thing you probably want to consider is where do you want to put your water feature. I chose this setting here for a couple reasons. I can see it really well from the house. The back of our house is all window, and we're usually either in the living room there or the office here. But the most important thing is it is completely surrounded by shrubbery. So the birds like to fly in, land in the shrubs, check out the situation, and then fly down to the bathing pools. And then afterwards, they usually fly back right up into the bushes and preen and shake off. So this turned out to be the perfect setting right here. Another thing I didn't go over too well in the video is in the first videos that I was doing while I was building it was what you were going to need to build something like this. Obviously you're going to need a pond liner, some kind of liner, waterproof liner. I went with an actual pond liner, really good quality. You don't want to cheap out on that, because if it springs a leak or anything, then you've got to dig everything up and kind of start from scratch. So I picked one, got it on Amazon. The size I chose was an 8x10, and it covered this area really nicely. Next thing you're going to want is a pump. I started out with, and you'll hear in the video, I started out with an 880 gallon per hour pump. That turned out to be way too much. I already had a 550, so I ended up switching out. Now I've got the 550 in here. So as you can see there, I've got it in a mesh bag, and that helps filter out some, because it's going to get leaves and other crud in it. So that helps filter out some of that. Another thing you're going to need is this hose, some kind of hose leading from your pump up to what I'm using is the spillway. And then when you get the hose, you just got to be sure to get the same size as whatever the outlet on your pump is. And then if you're using a spillway, whatever you hook it up to, just make sure those are the same size. I think mine were both 3/4 inch, so obviously I had to get a 3/4 inch hose. I got a lot more hose than I needed, and ended up just cutting off the excess. Another thing you're going to hear me talk about in the video, just I think I mentioned it a couple times, is foam, and I really didn't go into that at all. So what that is waterfall foam, and it's a spray, kind of like that stuff you use to fill gaps in your house, except it's fish safe. I don't think they make anything that's actually bird safe, but I figure if it's fish safe, then it's got to be good for the birds too. So what you want to do with that, and you can see a little bit, anywhere around the edges there, you don't want water leaking out, and so you end up filling those gaps up with the foam, and then later on just trimming the excess off of it. Next thing you're going to need is some kind of container to hold the water. I ended up, this is overkill here, I ended up getting a 50 gallon, kind of a pre-made pond. Got it from Lowe's. What you're going to have to consider is you need something big enough to when the pump is running, that you need the pump completely covered, obviously, with water. And then you have to allow for however much water is going to be used coming up through here, and running down through here. I figured on mine it's probably about 3 to 5 gallons, because I can see when I plug the thing in, the water level usually drops down about 1 inch. So this next part is optional, but I went ahead and decided to get one, and you'll see it in the video coming up. It's a spillway. I got it at Lowe's too, but you can also get them on Amazon. But up top here, the reason I went ahead and got the spillway was because I wanted the water to be spread out over that rock evenly. So if you can figure out something else, you know, go ahead and go for it. Obviously you're going to need rocks. I was very fortunate to have a lot of these nice rocks already in the yard. Some of these were in the rock wall when I started out, and then others were just in piles around, scattered around the yard here. So I was very fortunate to have those. Didn't have to buy any. I did end up getting some pebbles, so like river pebbles, 2 different sizes, and I use those like in these areas and some to fill in the holes there. When you're considering your design, what you want to keep in mind is that the birds prefer slower moving water, and so you can see in the top part there, it's just got a little bit of slope to it. Birds seem to enjoy that. If I had to do it again, and I may end up redoing some of it actually over winter here, is I would take this section here, and instead of having the slope here, I would extend it out more here and keep it a little bit more linear, and then somehow have the water dropping gently down into the pool down in here. So the birds, they'll use this a little bit, mostly for drinking, hopping up and down. They do use this pool some. Hardly ever see any right here, but by and far they prefer this top pool. And I'm thinking that could be because it seems to be a little bit more secluded, which brings me to another thing that you need to consider is, and some of this is a little bit too high, but don't make your rocks too high. The birds like to see over. You know, they're all the time checking out the situation, and if your rocks are too high, they may not use it because they might not feel secure. Now we're going to get into the videos that I took while I was doing the construction, and then at the very end I'm going to have a little bit of what I did wrong, what I might do differently, and some of my final thoughts. So I've been wanting to put some kind of water feature in, and then got the bright idea to put one in right here. The idea is to have a little bit of flowing water and some pools in here for the birds to bathe in, and hopefully see some of the migrating birds that come through. I got the idea kind of from a lady's YouTube channel called Warbler Ridge Birds, where she built a really simple thing, but man, she's got a bunch of different birds that come to it. So we're going to see what happens. So the pipe, let's see, I've got a spillway here. So the idea is this is probably going to be up here. I'm going to have rocks down in here for it to spill over and somehow cover this up over the top area here so that doesn't show, and then spill down to this pool here, over to this pool over here, down there, and over the rock wall that was already here, into this 50-gallon basin that I'm gonna bury. So anyway, I've started digging out, tested the liner, and it seems to be okay. So what I've got to do now is kind of smooth everything out, put down, I'm going to use landscape fabric under the liner, and then try to fit the liner in and put some more landscape fabric over that, and then start laying rock on it, and I'll probably wait to dig this hole here for the basin or the little pond till the very end. So we've had some change of plans here, and I've started digging. What I was going to do before just I don't think is going to work. I ended up watching a bunch of videos from Atlantis Water Gardens up in New Jersey. They do massive projects, plus they do very small projects too, and I've got some ideas from them and what I need to be doing. So I got the tub dug out and placed. I haven't filled in completely yet, but I got some bags of sand to pack around, and then I'll fill in with dirt after that. And then up here I'm gonna completely redo what I was showing in the last section of the video. Those 8x8s back there, I'm not going to use those anymore. That was going to put the spillway too high, so that'll be down lower, and then rearrange these holes. And I don't know, I'm just going to start digging and see what I end up with. So I don't know if you can tell, but I ended up leveling out some of these drops a little bit. So all I can do right now is just kind of lay the liner on it and see how that turns out. That back there is where the I think the spillway is going to be, and then I have a rock underneath it, and then something to cover it also. You know, some kind of flat rock or something or other. I don't know. So I shaped out the dirt a little bit more, actually kind of lowered all the slope and stuff. I think what I learned from those Atlantis Water Gardens videos is they weren't trying to shape the dirt as such. They were, you know, more using the rocks to form how the water flowed. So what we got here is, up there will be where the spillway is. Pooling area right in here. Right in here, top area for the birds. And then it's going to flow down into this area, and maybe able to make another little pooling area here, but then the final one, this could end up being just all in one. And then underneath the liner here, also too, I put a layer of landscape fabric down to try to protect the liner from sharp things, but hopefully I got most of them out. And then in there, I'll fill in a little bit more in that gap, and then put some rocks. There'll be a rock right here somehow for the water to flow over into the final pond. So anyway, I think I'm going to start placing rocks and just see how it goes. My intention is to try to make the water feature look like it was part of the rock wall the whole time. So I've started laying some of the rocks. Probably going to do some rearranging, but this is what I got so far. So the plan is water will come down through there, spill onto there. I gotta hide all this somehow and rework that rock wall, blend it in. Kind of did over there, but I still got a little bit more work to do. I've got to fill in the middle there. Water will spill over that rock, hopefully, and then somewhere back there will be the spillway. I'm thinking it's going to be going over that rock right there. So it's been a few days since I filmed anything, but I've got a lot of work done on it. Still got some like detail work to do, but we're in the testing phase now, and everything's looking actually pretty good. A few things that I did wrong, but I think it's going to turn out okay. So we're going to plug it in and let you see how it goes. So the pump I got was an 880 gallon per hour, which is way more than enough. I've got it turned down right now. It's got a dial on it. I still have to I've got a rock, but I still have to position a rock over that to hide it. So that's part of the detail work. But the water is coming down pretty nicely here. It's got a pool big enough definitely for the birds to bathe in, and that was the main thing. Then I've got this as a spillway right here, and that's kind of spilling over. I still need to do some, this is one of the mistakes I made, was leaving slope like that with the fabric, but I can get that covered up. Anyway, so it comes down here, fills up this pool. Another place I've got a foam is back in there, and you'll see that. So the idea was have it coming over this rock right here, and it does, and it forms another little pool right down in there. But this is where I've got the water leak right here. It's leaking from in here, and then I think maybe from under there, but I can get some foam under there and then fix that up. And then I've still got to add more water to the pool at the very end, but I won't do that till actually ready to go. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. We're going to see how the birds like it. And then obviously I got to bury the hose for the pump in the spillway, and then get some stuff planted. Same thing on this side. Get some stuff planted in here. Probably just ferns, or I've got some native green and gold that will go good. Also too, right around the front here is going to get something, probably some of that green and gold. That is it for now, and I will film it again once I get it finished. So I think I'm about 95% finished. Still have some work to do. Trimming up part of the bottom here, and I think that's about it. So plug it in and see. How the water flow is. So there's the water coming out of the spillway. A little bathing pool here. And then the water trickles down here. Possibly a little splash area for the birds there. Another bathing pool here. And then water flowing down here, and like I said, this is where I got to trim up some and figure out what I'm going to do at the bottom. May end up trying to get some sticks like this one and put them in here and try to cover up some of that, or get some water plants possibly. So now that we've had a full season with the bird spa here, I got a couple of final thoughts. I had a problem developed kind of early on with a leak, and there's two possibilities where that was coming from. I really don't think it was the pond liners leaking, but if you noticed in the video that I added a layer of landscape fabric on top of the pond liner, and my reasoning for doing that was to protect the pond liner when I was putting the rocks down. But I think what may have been happening was the landscape fabric was acting as a wick, and it may have been wicking some of the water out. It wasn't a whole lot, but every 2 to 3 to 5 days I would have to add a little bit more water. The other possibility was that I kind of went over in the video that I made a mistake down here when I was trimming the liner, and I tried to patch it up, and as you can kind of see from the water here when it comes over the rock, that a little bit of it gets sucked back in there, and it may be leaking out from there. I'm not really sure. So I've gone ahead and ordered another pond liner, and hopefully sometime this winter I'm going to redo that and try to fix that little leak. And then plus two, what I want to do is this part up here is really good. The birds really enjoyed that part, the top pool. Down here, not so much. They drank a little bit from there, splashed around a very little bit. So what I was talking about earlier is making this a little bit more linear, and then so bringing this out a little bit more, and then somehow dropping it down here and still have some kind of bottom pool there. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do, and hopefully I'll get it done before the spring season, so we'll see. And then if you noticed in the video too, and one way I tried to fix that water leak was I changed this all around right here. Found a flat rock and brought it over, and I was hoping it was going to just drop right into the pool, but yeah, I think that helped some, but wasn't really a big solution that I was hoping for. Overall, I think my water feature turned out to be a big success. Had a lot of good birds come to the yard. A lot of birds I hadn't seen before. Some that I had just briefly seen, wasn't able to get pictures of. Now I got video of. What really helped though was the bird cam I bought back there. I did a separate video kind of reviewing that particular bird cam and then how I use it, so you can go check out that video. But I let that run during the day when I'm not here, and I've come back and been really surprised at some of what I've seen. If you're building one of these thinking that the birds are just going to magically show up if they're not in your yard, coming to your yard already, then that's probably not going to happen. I've spent quite a few years making our yard bird friendly, took out just about all the lawn and turned it into a pollinator garden. We've got a lot of native trees, a lot of shrubs, and stuff that makes the birds want to come to our yard anyway. So if you don't have that, then I'm not sure how much of a success it's going to be. But what this bird spa did was help bring those birds out from hiding out a little bit into the open. And I think, and I've seen this mentioned in several places, that the trickling water really makes a difference. They're really attracted to that. So definitely, man, it's just, you don't have to do something quite this elaborate. Anything. The birds don't really care how it looks. They're just looking for a cool place to bathe. If you got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll definitely get back to you. And I've got a ton of video that I took this year, and hopefully here pretty soon I'm going to start putting some of those videos together and showing you some of the stuff that I've captured. Thanks for stopping by.